Alright, we're back with a new video, and this is part 2 of my PinUP Player How to Create a Pup-Pack video tutorial series. So the previous video gave you all the details of the basics, how the Pup-Pack editor works, and how to do a basic visual pinball table Pup-Pack using only B2S triggers. So this video is basically, we're going to do a different table, but with this table, the focus is going to be using PuPCapture. PuPCapture is basically where PinUP Player will monitor the DMD output from PinMAME or Pinball FX 2 and 3, and it will look for specific images and then trigger a video when it sees a specific image that we define. So that's what we're going to do. So for this video, I am going to be using Tron Legacy, the same one I've shown before, but I'm going to just do only some features from scratch so that you could see how I did it with just PuPCapture and then maybe a couple of small B2S triggers thrown in. So first things first, we have to change one single setting in PinUP Player before we can enable PuPCapture. Before we can enable an author to be able to create PuPCapture images. So to do that, we have to go to our Visual Pinball folder and then Visual PinMAME, and this is where we had DMDext installed, which is what PinUP Player uses for PuPCapture. So what you're looking for is this file here, DMD device pup ini, and then we're going to edit this. Now for me, I have this line here already enabled. I show DMD1. Okay, this is by default set to 0, so a user will not have this enabled by default. It's only going to be needed if you're going to create PuPCapture images. So we change this to 1 and then we save the file. And that's it. If you've got your normal PinUP Player up and running and you've played Pup-Packs with PuPCapture working, that's the only thing you have to change on your system. And now we're ready to start doing PuPCaptures. So basically to do that, we're going to go back to our PinUP Player folder, and we're going to be running this program called PuPCapture. Now, we'll run that after we get the table running, but just so that you understand, I'm not doing the entire table. I'm just going to do, like I did before, a small selection of things. So we're going to pretend we are creating a brand new Pup-Pack. So for Tron, I've already ran the table, and PinUP Player, as I said in the previous video, will automatically create an empty folder for the ROM. So in this case, I have this one. If I try to load it, there's nothing there, so it's going to want to create a new one, so we'll do that. Alright, so here we go. We've got all our screens and everything else set up, but yeah, as you can see, there's nothing available yet, right? So for now, I'm just going to save this, and we'll come back and set up everything after the fact, unlike before, okay? So I'm just going to close this off, and now these are the videos that I'm going to use. All of these here are, some are topper videos, some are going to be for the back glass, and maybe we'll try having the other screen, which basically will be like our third back glass layer. As I explained before, with the back glass, you've got your default background, and then you've got your normal back glass, and then you have the topmost layer, which is the other one screen for back glass. So, oh, actually, we're not going here. We're going to Tron. So, as you can see here, we have our files now for our Pup-Pack in here. So, I'm going to copy these over. So now I've got all my videos already set and ready to go that I'm going to be using for this demo. Again, most of it's going to be Pup-Packs, most of it's going to be PuPCapture. So you can see here I've got the trailer, and I'm going to have background videos for our back glass and the logo. I'm going to have maybe some topper videos here, and then I'm going to have Quora mode, multi-ball, jackpot, and then just some simple ones. I may or may not do all these, but you know, these are the ones that we're going to be aiming for. I wanted to show you these so that you get an idea of what I'm going to be trying to do with PuPCapture while I'm playing the game, because that's how we do it. We play the game and then we do PuPCapture. Now, one other thing I want to show you is it's good to have the manual for the table that you're going to be working on, so that way it makes it easier if you need to find certain triggers. I mentioned how to do this in the previous video on part 1, but another thing that's handy is adding manual ball control to the table that you're testing with, because it allows you to move the ball around manually, which can make things go so much quicker when you're trying to trigger videos or see how things are working. So if you go to vPinball, to find this, you just go to the main page, and then you go to Wiki's tutorials, and then you go to vPinball tutorials, and then you'll see it right here, adding manual ball control to your table. And that's what this is here. So just follow the directions, do exactly what it says, and then from that point, you'll be able to use it. Now, I'm showing you this because I know people use this, and then they there's a certain limitation that I want to demonstrate here. So we're going to run the table now. So I'm going to use the newest version that I already have the ball control enabled on it. Alright, so first things first, I want to show you guys what happens with ball controller, manual ball control, when you use it. Alright, so I've enabled it now with the letter C, and now I can use the arrow keys to move it around. It works perfect anywhere on a table, but on some tables, if you go into like a drain or a chute or somewhere else, part of the script will choose to destroy the ball, and then you'll get a crash if the table does that, and that's a limitation of the ball controller. So I'm just going to show you here. I turned it off, so it worked fine, right? But then when I enabled it, it crashes. So if you have it enabled when you go into a chute like that, it will crash, and that's normal. So you basically have to either not have it enabled when you go into those locations, or wait for it to hit the drain and disable itself, and then when you shoot it out from the plunger lane, you can re-enable it after the fact. You're going to have to just play around and test with it. So we have our table ready. So what we're going to do is we're going to start playing. Alright, so now because we already decided to create a PuP-Pack, you saw it initialized PinUP Player, but we don't have any videos or anything set up yet. So first thing you want to do is you want to go to your settings for the table, and you want to, it's a good idea to have your DMD be the default orange that PinMame has, and do the pup captures of that. Unless you've got like a full color ROM patch, like maybe something like AC/DC or the Star Trek or some of the other ones that DMDext does support. Otherwise, just do it in the default orange, so that way it has a better chance of being picked up by other colors used. I did the Tron PuPCapture with this blue color here, but I probably should have done it with this color to make it more detectable. So, you know, just have your settings be like this, and then hit OK. Now this DMD, that's the one that's built into the table, so that one's going to show up by default on desktop view, but we're not actually using that, so don't confuse that one with this one. I wanted to show you guys the difference. Now, before we can proceed, we have to confirm one thing. That one setting that I changed is going to enable PuPCapture. So to confirm that, what we can do is Alt-Tab, and what we're looking for is this little window here, PUP DMD form. That is DMDext outputting the real-time DMD output, and that's what PinUP Player will use for PuPCapture. So see, you can see it right there, that little window in the corner there. That's actually DMDext, the AVI output used for PuPCapture. So now that we know that is there, and it has to be that specific window for it to work correctly, because that won't show up unless you make that change earlier like I showed you. So now we're going to run PuPCapture. Okay, so this program is what we're going to be using to capture all of our DMD images. So you can do one of two things. You can either get this window visible and hit F5, like the instructions show you, or you can just simply click this, and boom, look at that. So now it's picking up in real time this DMD window. I think it's 15 frames per second by default. So what we want to do is we want to change how many seconds we want to be able to do this. So I set mine to really high while I'm playing, because you can stop this at any time. So by default, it's going to capture it to memory, and that's what I'm going to do. So when you have this up and ready, all you have to do is hit start, and there you go. If it's green, that's how you know it's doing PuPCapture now. So now we just go back to the game, and then we just play it like normal. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to go through and do some quick stuff, get some images to use,
What do you say?
and then we're just going to play through. So I'm going to use the manual ball roller,
You can have a crack at the old
and I'm just going to do a few simple things. I'm not going to go heavy into
First
this.
game's on me.
Alright, so we're going to try doing a core multi-ball here again, because I tried previously and it messed up. So the idea is that we're trying to get the DMD images for whatever mode we want, and then we'll use those later. Alright, so now we can do core multi-ball.
What do I do with this?
Some things are worth the risk.
Alright, so I think that's all we need to do. Perfect, okay. So, what we're going to do is, now that we have this ball, we can use it, we're going to go into the jackpot spots.
Biodigital jack.
Alright, so you can see, and even over here I think we can do it as well. Yep,
She's the
and
man.
there we go. Now, I'm not going to get too fancy, but as you can see, like you have different images that come up sometimes for jackpots and other things. It's not always the same though, so it can be tricky. And you'll see why later on. So, okay, so that's basically all I wanted. So that's fine. That works good. So what we do is we're gonna wait for the mode to finish, and there we go. We got the quarter multi-ball mode finished. And that's pretty much all I wanted. So, all right. So we're just gonna let you drain out. Okay, so that's, I think, pretty much all we need. So once you're done getting your pup captures that you need, you can then either quit the table, which we'll do, and then you just go in here and you click on this. All right. So we've got a whole mess of pup captures. So what we do is we go to Browse Caps, and then here they are all in memory. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing is, because I got a whole bunch that I didn't need at the beginning, well actually, yeah, we can do that, sure, why not? Okay, so you can see here, right? All you do is you scroll through to find the image that you want. Now, what I do is I remove the ones I don't want, just for the sake of making it easier, so I hit R for each one. So this one here, there we go. That's the one I want. Now, you can do a couple of things here. You could either just save the file as is, or you can make a marker right off the bat. Now, there's pros to doing it both ways. If you save the file as is, let's say you're not someone making a pup pack, but you're getting pup captures for someone else. If you're getting pup captures for someone else, just save the file, and then let them make the mark as they need to, because sometimes one image can work for multiple things and you may not want that, and you'll have to change it up. And if you make your you're sorry, not your mark, the matchbox, it's basically a way of isolating a section of the image from the rest, so that way it's going to be consistent every time. Here, I'll show you what I mean here. Okay, So in this case, let's say we wanted to save this one, right? So what we do is we highlight this and we hit set matchbox. So what this is going to do is it's only going to look for this portion of the image and it's going to ignore the rest. The reason why you need to do this is because you have scores and other things that show up that maybe you may not, be consistent. Obviously, you're never going to have that exact same score every time this shows up, or you may have 3 credits in. So that's the whole point of setting a matchbox, to isolate. Now, if you want to keep this, you absolutely can just hit S, and therefore, there you go. So that's saved. Now, if you don't want to do it that way, you can just literally save the image as is. But in this case, I'm going to make a matchbox. So we'll do this, because I want this one for the trailer. All right, so we'll do that. And then I'm just going to remove these other ones that I don't need. All right, so here's a good example. All right, so now I'm going to keep this simple. I'm not going to get too fancy into it. So for this one, this is going to be our start to game image. So now in this case, we actually want it to be the 0 that's included. So it's kind of tricky because there may be other images that will show up. So what I do is, because you may have 2, 3, and 4 player. So it's a little tricky. So what I'm going to do is, because when you have your second ball, your third ball, it may have some extra scores in there and that kind of thing. So you don't want to just highlight this area, because then it's going to play the video every time you get a new ball. So we want to highlight including this. Now, I could probably just do this, and that would be enough. You know what? Yeah, that'll be enough. We'll do that. So therefore, it's going to be player 1 at the very beginning of their game. It's going to set off whatever video we want. So I'm going to save that. So there we go. We got more of that. So I'm going to remove these other ones. Okay. And I'm going to keep. Now, I can use some of these other ones, but I'm just going to keep it generic for now. I'm looking very specifically for. All right. So here's another example. Now I could. In fact, yeah, we can do that. Sure, we'll use these. So a good example is this one here, right? Well, we don't want to include the number 3, but we do want to include the rest of the image. So what we'll do is, oh, no. All right, so just go back. Oh, actually, yeah, we'll go all the way to here. Okay, so you want to have it as still as possible for your image if you can. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight this sucker here, set matchbox, and then I'll save that one. So I can use this every time we do the core spinner. So I'm going to remove this and that. Okay, so we've got these 3 so far. Okay, so I don't need these other ones because I'm not using a different video for each one. Alright, so this is the one you want. Alright, so we want this one for Quorum Multi-Ball is lit. So we'll do that. And we'll set our matchbox for that, and then we'll save it. Again, because we don't want to score, right? All right. All right. Now I was going to do the Tron ones, but you know what? We'll do that using B2S. We don't need images for that one. We can, but I want to show a mix of both. Like for example, if I wanted to use this, I could try, having. It's tricky because these can be out of order, right? So it's kind of tough. Like you could try getting just to one, but then it may not be the same. So those are a little trickier to deal with. So that's something you'll have to play around with. And there we go. And I think that's all we need. Perfect. All right. Okay, so we have our pup captures now. They're saved. And if you're not sure, you can double check. So you go back into your main PinUP Player folder, and then wherever you run PuPCapture, this program, it'll create these two folders, and then the auto capture is where we've saved all these. So if you click on it, you know it's hard to see, but there you go. These are now our PuPCapture images that we just created. All right, so now we're ready to move on to our PuP-Pack. So now we can just close this out, or you can start some more and do some more and keep playing. It's really, really simple to use. So I'm just going to exit for now, and now we're going to go to our PuP-Pack editor, and we're going to go down now, and we have a bunch of stuff going on. So there you can see now all my playlist folders that I copied over are showing up, and all my attract mode stuff is showing up. So we're going to do a couple things here. We're gonna take all these that we just got, and we're going to copy them or cut. It's up to you, but we'll copy them and we'll put them inside the PuP-Pack folder. And then we're going to look for, actually I'm not sure if it's going to be in here yet. Okay, so, alright, so what we will do then is we'll copy them into this PuPCapture folder. And we'll copy that folder. Because again, this is auto-created in here. So basically, just copy them from there into here. And we'll just copy this entire folder into the ROM folder for that table. The PuP-Pack folder, I should say. So, here we go. Alright, this PuPCapture folder is where PinUP Player will look for these files. Now, they have to be all numerically numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with no gaps. Okay? So, we'll kind of do both of these at the same time. We're gonna go back and forth on this. So, alright, so here we go. We've got a whole bunch of things we need to set up here. We need to set up our screen. So for the topper, we're going to set that to on. Backglass is going to be on. Now, we're using another backglass, but this one's going to be, it's going to be force pop. Or it's going to be show. It might be force pop. Yeah, it's going to be force pop. We'll confirm that after. And that's it for that. So for our topper, we're going to be using our background logo. For the backglass, we're going to be using our background backglass. Alright, so now our screens are set up. So up here, alright, we're back after doing a whole bunch of work. Not too much, but you know, I didn't want you guys to sit here just watching me fill all this stuff in. So, just to reiterate, we have our playlists all set up and configured. We have our screens all set up and configured, including the other one for the backglass. And we have now all of our triggers are set up and configured and ready to go. Now, to reiterate what we did before, we had our PuPCapture images all in here, and we copied this entire folder into the PuP-Pack folder for this table that we're making. And there it is there. Now, what I've done is, I've now renamed all of them so that they're numerical. This is how they have to be. They have to be in numerical, and they have to have no gaps. So you can't have 1, 2, 3, and then 5, 6, 7, or everything after 3 won't work. So make sure you do not leave any spaces. And that's all of these PuPCapture images that we have. So I can explain more what you want to see here. Over here, these are now all the triggers that are used for playing the videos in PinUP Player. Anything with a D is going to be a PuPCapture image. Anything else is going to be either a B2S or a DOF trigger of some sort. So you can see for the Tron and Zeus drop targets, I could have gotten PuPCapture images, but I figured I'd mix it up a little bit. So I actually used the actual switches for those, and you can find those either by going to the actual table in the Visual Pinball X editor, or you can go to the manual. And since we're on the switches here, this is the drop targets for the Tron letters, and then the Zeus ones are all throughout here. So I basically W1, W2, W3, W4, and that's what I put in here. And to point out, if I don't have anything here except for D1 or W1, it equals the same as I put in this. It's exactly the same thing. And yeah, so you don't have to put that in there unless it's something besides one, because if it's one, that just means that it's activated or turned on. If it was D1 equals 0, then that's the condition needed with this trigger to make whatever it is you have happen here. So that's what I did for all of these, and also for the light signal ramps, because I have those as well. They're going to play videos, and same thing. I just found the switches on the ramps. One's over here, and the other one is, I do believe, up here. So when the ball goes in and it comes around, it's going to hit that switch, and then boom, we're going to turn on a video. So that's where we're at right now. We have our PuPCapture images and our switches. So you can see here what I've got. I've got the attract mode. That's going to be the trailer. So when it sees this image, it's going to play the trailer. And I'm not going to show you each of the images because you saw earlier. But for Quora, it's going to just play certain videos. For Quora Multiball, it's going to play 2 looping videos. So we have the main Quora Multiball that'll play on the back glass, and then we have the Quora Multiball info that will play on the topper. Those are our 2 main looping modes that we'll be using just for this demo. And then we also have the Quora Multiball is lit. And then, now this is a big one. This is what I was talking about when I said we have 3 layers. We have the default background backglass layer, which is basically just a still image but made into a video still. Like I said in the last video, you still want to use videos for everything. Then the second layer will be anything that plays on screen 2 for the backglass and 0 for the topper. Now in this case, for the jackpot, we're going to have it play on screen 7, which is basically the same as the backglass, but it's a top layer. And as a result, we can now have the Quora Multiball looping on both screens, and then I can have the jackpot play over top of that, and then it'll go right back, because the idea is that if you have one video play over, like, to interrupt another, then the previous video, if it's looping, will stop. But because this is a separate screen, this trigger has no effect on the backglass and topper screen. So keep that in mind. Like a trigger only is dependent on the same screen, and you can use the same trigger on multiple screens, as I did down here with Quora. Where are we here? Oh yeah, and Quora. I used D6 so that I would stop the Quora Multiball loop on the topper and the backglass. And the images that I use are just the normal background backglass image for the topper and the backglass. So that way it's seamless. That seems to work out really well. I was using a sound file to do that before, and it works, but you get a bit of a blink when that happens. So by doing it this way, it's nice and seamless, and because I'm using videos, it works perfect. If you use images, just a still image, like just a picture file, then it'll have a bit of a small blink in between. So just keep that in mind. So everything's set up. We're ready to go. And now we can go ahead and test. Now I've already saved this, but I'll save it again anyway. So we're ready to go to test our PuP-Pack. So now we're going to load the table. And where are we here? Let's get that Tron up and going. All right. So let's see if our PuP-Pack works. All right, so right off the bat, you can see our topper background video is playing. Our backglass background video is playing. And then you also saw another PinUP Player, screen startup play for a second. That's the other screen because it doesn't have a background image, so it appears over top of this one. So remember, we're going to have two separate layers of videos playing. And there you go. You can see, once it got to the Tron logo, it started playing the trailer. So there we go. So now we're ready to start playing and testing.
On the same team.
So remember, and perfect. So you can see, once it saw that image, the startup image, it now used this logo animation to stop the trailer, and it used another one for starting the game. So it's working. Our PuPCapture is working perfect. So I'm just going to do the manual ball roller like always. But I'll show you, our targets here are being triggered not by PuPCapture, but by the switches themselves. So see, you can see Zeus showing up, but watch. You notice that because I chose to do it with the switch, it's going to come up every single time I hit that, even though our DMD doesn't show anything. The reason why is because it's already lit. So you have to kind of make a choice between, do you want to use the switch for something that will show a video every time, or do you want to rely on what will show on the DMD? Now sometimes it may not show what you want it to show, so it's basically every table is going to be different, so you're going to have to figure that out. And same with Tron here. Now if I hit the drop targets, it's going to show the letters. Now, I set these to 0 for rest seconds. That way, the reason why I did that was so that way they're very quick and they'll play instantly if I switch back and forth between them. Now, most things you don't want that, but for drop targets, depending on how quick your videos, you might want that. Because I have that on the topper, so it won't affect the back glass. By having those kind of videos on the topper, the back glass is free to do whatever it wants without interference. So that's, every table is going to be a little different, but keep that in mind. So now we can go to the ramps, and you'll see we have our light cycle videos. Now, because I set the rest seconds, it takes a few seconds, like about 4 or 5 seconds before I'm allowed to do another video. So you can see, like I have to wait. So again, those are just done with switches, not PuPCapture, okay? So I wanted to just point out the difference.
Cycles and races, light.
Alright, so now light cycle multi-ball is lit, but I don't want to do light cycle multi-ball, so I'm just going to quickly get this out of the way. Because that's not what we're testing here. So I'll just wait for this to kind of finish off here. Alright, there we go. Ah, I guess not yet. Okay, now it should. There we go. Alright, so now I'm just going to let this drain out so I can actually do ball control. Now see, perfect example. See that image there? See what happened? Because I want to demonstrate, that video should not have played. In fact, you know what? I'm going to show you why that video played. And this is actually really important. The way I set up the mask on that one, I didn't do it very good, and this is really important to pay attention. Now I included this, which was perfect for player 1, but the problem is, what if I get a score that has 2 zeros on the end? Then that video is going to trigger and play every single time, and that's exactly what happened. So I'm glad I showed you guys this, because this is a good reason why it's good to keep your original PuPCaptures without the marker or the frame or masking, and then that way you could make a backup of the original PuPCapture with no modifications, and then you can do your own masking to see if it's gonna work or not. And in this case, it didn't, so I'm gonna have to go back and redo that again. So I wanted to point it out because that's really important that you guys see that. So it does actually make a difference. So if you're doing a PuPCapture for someone else or for yourself, back up the images first, then go back and do your what's it called here? Marking or masking. I can't remember what the heck it's called now. So all right. So I wanted to show Core Multi-Ball to see if that was going to work. So there we go. Our images are working good again. But we're going to do Quora. Alright, so when we go through, there we go. You can see it's triggering the Quora images. Now, it may not do it right away. Okay, yeah, it does. It depends on how many rest seconds you set up. And one more. There we go. Quora Multi-Ball is lit. So now we're ready to go in here and do our testing. There we go. Now our topper video is playing and it's looping. And we also have our backlash image, which is now also looping. On my original mod, I didn't have it that way, and there's reasons for that, but I wanted to basically show what this is going to look like. So now I can show you, if you watch the backlash, you'll see it's going to keep looping over and over and over that video that I have running. Alright? It's about maybe 10 seconds or 15 seconds long, but it's going to keep looping that. Same with the topper image. So now, if I go to the jackpot, it's not going to interrupt the backlash image. It's going to play over top of it.
It's incredible.
And there you go. As soon as it's done, it's right back to that looping backlash layer image. And if I go back in there again,
She's an ISO.
now there were 3 jackpot images. I only got 2 PuPCaptures, so that's why nothing played that time.
Perfection.
There we go. And right back. So I just wanted to really demonstrate this because it's really important so that you guys see that, and there we go again. It works perfect. But sometimes, as we just saw, you can have like 3 different animations for one mode, one mode's jackpot. So you really have to kind of play the game, to get to know everything that shows up on that DMD quite a bit. So that's all I wanted to show for that. So the other thing is, let's see here. So if you watch, once the mode is over, there you go. And what I used is that same image for the backlash and the topper to stop the multi-ball mode. And I did that by giving them a higher priority than those looping videos had. So they make, there's ways to make this work. You just have to kind of play around with what's more important for each video. So that's the main stuff. That's basically our PuPCapture all working the way we wanted it to. I'm pretty sure I got most of the stuff in there. So as you saw, things weren't perfect and they needed some refinement. So see, in that case, the startup videos didn't go because we didn't have 2 zeros at the end. So little things like that you'll come across. So that's basically the main bits for doing PuPCapture and doing a PuP-Pack. You basically you set up your DMDext with that extra setting I showed at the beginning. You then run your table, you run the PuPCapture program, and then you capture it in real time, however long you need, and then afterwards you go back, delete the files you don't want, save the ones you want. If you want to do some masking to mask off areas, you can, and then copy those files over to your PuP-Packs location, the whole PuPCapture folder, and then rename them, and then use them in triggers with whatever videos you want. And it's that simple, It really is so much easier that way. You get way more control because if well, I don't know I don't think I showed it in the video actually, but I'll show you the original code that I had to do before we had PuPCapture to get this to work. It was like 2 to 3 weeks of me doing a crap ton of testing. So all this code down here, yeah, that's what I originally did to make it work for PinUP Player. Now most of that is basically can be handled, not all of it, but most of it can be handled just by PuPCapture images. And you know, it's so much easier. You capture some images, you throw them into PuP-Pack, and then that's it. You know, fine-tune things after that, and you're good to go, man. So that's the main bit I wanted to show you for PuPCapture. As you saw, you can also mix it with B2S and DOF triggers as well, and it works great. You know, if we take a look at, let's take a look at Avatar, for example. So you can see X-Kane's work and not DDH, Nailbuster's work, you know. These are all PuPCaptures. That's all they use. Nothing else. Well, they might have used, they did use a few for the same things, for the drop targets, you know, but it takes a while, but it works. It really, really works well. So I just wanted to show you, you know, it's not magic. It's not hard. It just, you have to get to know it, and then it's easy after you know how to do everything. So that's it basically for this video. Thanks for watching. I'm not sure if I'm going to do more videos. I might do one showing how to do Pinball FX3, which is basically the same thing, very similar. And I will show how to do future Pinball PinUP Player Pup-Pack, because future Pinball doesn't use PuPCapture. It just uses a PuP-Pack with E triggers, and DOF links is the one that tells PinUP Player to play the videos through B2S server. So that's it. Keep an eye out for more videos, and I know this is a long one, but it's worth going through all the details so that you guys can see for yourselves. It's not hard to do. It just takes some time to refine and test things. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Later.